All right, we're back. I'm your host, Bambino Brown, with another episode of WTF. This is a show that tackles topics that are hard for most people to talk about, but very necessary nonetheless. We always like to end the show with a positive conclusion to each episode. And today, I got some very special guests here. And we're going to dive right into a topic that I feel like is very necessary to talk about, which is saving the black family in America. How do we go about saving the black family? What has happened over the years to separate the black family, and how do we prevent that from happening again? So to start the show off, before we get rolling, I want to say again, this show is brought to you by God, because God woke me up today. God woke you up today. And we just want to make sure we acknowledge and give all props to the Most High. Give us the strength to make this a great episode. So, again, I'm not going to hold much time getting right into this episode, saving the black family. I've got a very, 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 very special guest. I could call him the creator. I could call him one of my favorite people. And then I've also got another guest who was on volume one of WTF. So let's dive right into it. Welcome. Mm-hmm. Big Bud, what's happening, man? What's up, Dad?
Man,
it's my honor to have you, man.
you know what? I'm so proud is such a sappy word, but I'm just, this is a long time coming. We do this all the time at home, and yeah, this is a long time coming. I'm excited. Yeah,
I always have to watch my mouth around moms and you and the kids when I'm talking about this podcast, WTF, because it's short for what the movie are y'all watching? Mike, where's the camera at? Where am I looking at? Right there? Is that what I'm looking at, the people right there?
Yep.
Okay, I just want to make sure. But when we say, what the fuck movie are y'all watching, it gets frustrating because sometimes we see media, and when we see media and we listen to media, we feel like they're not always telling us the truth. Or, I feel like I'm watching WWF, WWE half the time. So I can't really listen to it because it's gotten so bad to where I feel like we've all lost a little bit of trust in the system. I think back in the day when they would send news from New York, it would come on horseback all the way across through to St. Louis and through the Midwest. And by the time it got to the West Coast, we opened up our paper and we were like, this is going on and this is the truth. And I think that was easier for the powers that be to control everybody because you believed everything that you read at that point. Now we have social media and instant information where we're exchanging information so fast before they can put the whoop on it, before they can tamper with it and change it around, you already got it. So now it's, kind of throwing things off. And I think that's why you're seeing the fact checkers, which little Johnny, stop lying or you're going to grow up to be a fact checker. That's just how we feel about it these days. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so let's go over a few stats. When we're talking about the black family, there's a few different things we have here. Of course, the elephant in the room is slavery. We don't like to talk about it because people say, why you always got to pull the race card and all of these things that they say. It wasn't that long ago. Our grandmothers dealt with Jim Crow. Our grandmothers dealt with redlining. Our grandmothers dealt with Black Wall Street being burnt down, not being able to go into banks as recent as the 70s and 80s with Bernard Garrett and the bankers. And then we look at even shows, the Killers of the Flower Moon, how they did the American Indians and took their land and oil. And we got to act like our shit stinks, because it does as America. We got to stop saying everybody else is the terrorist and we've got these halos and we're holier than thou. And it's like, stop it. The rest of the world is saying, no, you're the terrorist. So, when I just want to approach this being very humble as Americans and being black in America. We know that every city you go to find the black people, you got to go to Martin Luther King Boulevard, right? And is that ever in the Beverly Hills of that city? Never. It's always in the hood. It's never in the nice part of the area. So we know that here, I'll take a stat right here. In 2022, this is, Google, and I don't trust everything on Google, but this is some information I researched. 2022, it says 17.1% of black people living in the United States were living below the poverty line, compared to 8.6% of white people. I think more black people were living below the poverty line. I don't know about 17%.
Where's the poverty line?
Right. And what is that line? I mean, if you look at black home ownership from Bush to Obama to Trump, the Great Recession of 2008 caused black home ownership to plunge from 46.5% to 40.7%, and only just started to recover during the last year of the Obama administration. So from a chart perspective, 46.5% of black people were homeowners under Bush, and then it went down to 44.5% when Obama started his presidential campaign term, and then at 40, it went down to 40.7% after his 8 years. He handed it over to Trump, where it went up to 41.4%, so not quite a whole percent, like 8.8% went up. So as far as home ownership, we've seen some decline in that. We've seen the black family separated, just as you can see in media and on TV. We don't see any more Cosby families anymore. If you turn on TV, you see the black guy with the white woman and the mixed kids. And
reality TV.
And reality TV. We don't honor the black woman and the black man. Right. Shout out to Dr. Umar and those brothers who campaign for that, because every other race, you see them together. You see Asians together. You see the Hispanic, Mexican people together. You see white people together. Why does it seem that they want to separate us from being together?
Let me. You know what? You started this off with that, and I love that. This is brought to you by, sponsored was God. Brought to you by God.
The Most High.
We first got to understand that there's a spiritual.
Talking to Mike. Make sure you're talking to the mic.
Yeah. There's a spiritual war going on.
For sure.
We have to understand that first.
Yeah.
Of all that there's what you want.
It's pretty evident right now. It's hard to miss it when you look at these videos of these youngsters dancing on the devil's lab, and you see Doja Cat and all these people just.
Everywhere you look. Everywhere.
What's the dude, Sam, whatever.
Wow.
At the Grammys, they're dancing with the devil on stage. So.
But slavery, we want to believe that slavery was abolished and slavery is over. It never was abolished. They changed the name. They flipped it up.
To what, prison?
The prison industrial complex.
Pretty much.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Started when, during the Civil War, when they were trying to figure out how
set us free. Set them free. Yeah.
Well, stop these niggas from, the slaves from
prosperity,
killing, from rising up and
starting the revolution, revolting. Yeah.
Yeah.
How can we give them the illusion of freedom? How can we give them the illusion of freedom? Is what they were thinking
and that's
about.
what it was. So
yeah.
they crammed. They went in their think tanks and came up with another form of slavery.
Right.
We'll let them think they're free.
Right.
And release them.
And the Jim Crow laws came, and all of that was another form of slavery. It was directly.
But Jim Crow was the offspring of the beginning of the prison industrial complex, which included convict leasing.
Convict leasing.
Convict leasing. Yeah.
What's that?
Well, when the Emancipation Proclamation went into effect and they freed the black folks, the slaves. They immediately put laws into effect that were for targeted black people, especially black men, where the vagrancy was a law that was targeted for black people. You had to.
So wait, what was the term that you just said that Mikael asked you about? It's called leasing.
Convict
leasing. So is that the owner or the warden can lease the prisoners to work for him for slave wages, basically? The same thing that they're doing right now.
There was no wages. You didn't get no money.
Well, now they make like 1 cent a day or something.
No.
Whatever it is.
They make $2 a day. Don't shortcut them.
$2. Yeah, don't shortcut them. Give them their $2.
To begin with, $2 to get it going, you had to get arrested. So they put these laws in effect that you couldn't be out after curfew laws, and if you couldn't produce or present a
paperwork, you were going to jail.
ID. Where do you live?
So
you're a vagrant.
So this indirectly affects the black family because there's so many topics, and with this show, what the movie are y'all watching? We could get to going all over the place because even a subject like this, saving the black family, we will get back to this. We will have other guests on this topic. We will not cover everything in 1 hour because it's a really deep conversation, and with so much trauma and so much damage, it's going to take a long time to repair. So we're just trying to dive into it. We want your comments. All of you guys watching, please like, subscribe, share, and leave your comment based on anything that you've heard that you like or that you want to add to. We look for your comments to make our show better on the next show. Now, back to the family itself. Clearly, with the prison industrial system, they aim to enslave blacks again, but that indirectly affects the black family. What we see today, in my opinion, I'll let you guys elaborate. Go ahead. What'd you say? Directly affects. Yeah. We're seeing a lack of fathers in the homes these days, and
by design.
By design. So let's talk about that. How was that design? What are some of? I know some. I know like with the
welfare. 1965 welfare.
Mm-hmm. Welfare. There you go.
You know, where now the daddy is the paycheck and the government.
Yeah.
And in order to receive the government assistance, you got to take
a dad in the house.
Yeah. So that was number one.
Wait. All you people on welfare, you do not know this. I guarantee 95% of you don't know it. One more time, Mike. Can you tell us one more time?
In 1965, they started the Welfare Act, where they would give assistance to single women, and in order to receive, part of their reception was to make sure that a man was not in the household. What was that movie by James Earl Jones? Yeah, Claudine is a great example of that.
So check this out. They're arguing at home. It's a fight in the family. Get out. I'll just get welfare. I don't need you.
Exactly.
Get out. Matter of fact, what you're making, I'm going to get from the government. Gives the wife, the mom, the wife more power to say bye. With drugs being put into our community, and we know that they were brought in by the CIA, that's been proven. You add that to it, you add the trauma of slavery, you add the lack of being able to go into the bank and get a loan or get a job or these things, it directly affected the black family. So,
well, but there's some stuff in between now. You had the 65, then you had the 70s. You know, when you talked about earlier off camera how there was a one household family or one person in the family made the money and he's able to support the whole family, right?
That's how it used to be. Yeah.
They got rid of those jobs in the 70s going into the early 80s. The Bethlehem Steel, the Chrysler, just the middle class type of job that you just go over to the east side.
Right.
And it was all the black men that were kind of like my father figured that's where they was working. You know, by the early 80s, those jobs disintegrated. And what did they call them? They called them outsourcing those jobs. Wow. And simultaneously, by outsourcing those jobs, they started to bring in crack into the neighborhood. And so now that became New Daddy. Yeah. You know, he's making, big time money and now everybody wants to be around money and success. And then that became the new structure of our neighborhoods.
At the demise of our own families. So, when you look at the big drug dealers, especially like the heroin and crack and all of those things, it destroyed so many people for one person to make some money. And that's why, they were glorified, but at the same way, you got to look at them like, well, you really destroyed, and when your back's against the wall, and a lot of people were like, well, I don't do it. What's the dude's name from the movie that Denzel played? I'm drawing a blank on his name.
Oh yeah, I forgot the movie.
Gangster, American Gangster. Oh, yeah, and they were saying, you're destroying the community. He was like, well, if I don't, the Italians are gonna bring it in here anyways. The drugs are gonna get here somehow, right? But I think as black men, we got to say, no, they don't sell it to their own people. And that was definitely a start in the beginning of breaking down the black family. Is there anything else you want to add that you saw that
You know what? I think it's really important to have right now to have serious conversations with our children and stop relying on the internet or sending them to daycare and letting someone else school our children. Because all they're going to get is this nonsense, this bullshit. If we're sitting here, we know the truth. We got to teach our kids early.
Well, we need an after-school program like the Jewish people do. After regular school, they go to Jewish school.
Teach them who they are.
Yeah, teach them their culture.
And like I was telling you, son,
our kid.
they're playing chess while we're playing checkers, and we getting our asses kicked.
We are. So we're playing a different game. If we look like chess. Hold on. I want you to break down. We just talked about this the other day, and I really want you to break down the chessboard.
But you were saying what other type of things are affecting the black man, or excuse me, the family structure?
Black family
Well,
structure.
then you take a look at
The images that we're seeing.
well, first you got to go into our vice president and our president. They were real powerful on the whole 3 strikes law, and keep you in prison for 25 years, and Pete Wilson and all the et cetera. So
the '94 crime bill.
Yeah. So first they bring the drugs into the neighborhood.
Yeah.
They allow it to just skyrocket.
And then they charge you for the crime.
Exactly. And then, crack cocaine is like a 20-to-1 sentence on powder, and it's the same type of format. So then they locked you behind bars. And then, so now you had that entire population just taken from our neighborhoods.
Taken from our, And then you broke down the Black Panthers and made them into a terrorist organization for protecting themselves from the police. You frame them, we know. What's the FBI agent's name who took out Fred Hampton? I forgot his name. It was like a CIA guy who was like the head. FBI guy.
J. Edgar Hoover.
And wasn't he like a child molester? Found out later he was a child molester. He was gay and all these things.
Yeah.
Anyway, he targeted this guy. He murdered this guy. We know these things, and there's still been no reparations. There's been no apology. See, America is the type of a country that will assassinate you and then make a stamp for you, like Malcolm X. They'll kill you, then they'll make a stamp for you, and you're the greatest person ever. Oh my God, we're so sorry. But don't talk about what just happened, that we killed him and assassinated him. We don't want.
No, that was then. We're new people now.
We're new now. Yeah.
We got a
Why you always got to bring out the race card?
Why can't you let things just die? Why you got to keep bringing up these wounds?
We're guilty of. I'm so sick of hearing black men, Assalamu alaikum, brother, and I don't eat no swine, man. And then when we were eating, they blessed their food, and don't eat no. But going home to my snow bunny.
What was that movie? I'm gonna get you, sucker. My Nubian queen. And then he came home. He was blacker than he came. I came over. Now, don't get it twisted. I have so many white friends. All my white friends. I love you guys, but let's keep it 100, because what the movie are y'all watching? Because we all know that we get we get talked about like why are you guys always gang banging, and why do you guys see these social injustices? If they would just obey the law and race card. Why are you pulling the race card? To the people that created colored drinking faucets, only the coloreds could drink those. You dealt the race card. So please don't ever say race card to black people again. I just think that's a cop out to not addressing what's really happened in America, how America has done black people who basically built this country for free for 400 years, made it the wealthiest, strongest country in the world, and then never got not even trauma relief. Like, here's some trauma relief. Here you can get some therapy. You can, forget talking about grants and actual reparations, which Biden doesn't even want to discuss. You ain't black if you don't vote for me. But let's not talk about reparations. Stop using that profanity. That's how Biden feels about that.
Profanity.
Quit using that profanity. We're not giving you anything.
You can't even mention that. Journalists can't mention the word.
You can't even say it. I don't think Kamala could say it. They won't even let her say it.
She's the one who somebody mentioned it. A journalist mentioned it, or it was, what's her name? Corinne Jean-Pierre, the White House.
Says she can't even say it. She's got like a zapper on her back if she says it shocks her. It shocks her every time they put it on her back. Every time she gets it out of line, it zaps her.
Right before they have those press conferences, certain things they can't do, and reparation is a term you cannot use or you won't be invited back.
And when we're talking about reparations, we're not saying make it rain out the sky, but let's just talk about the wealth that's been passed down for generations to white families. That if you look at any product in your refrigerator, on your back, on your clothes, anything you see since 1847, we couldn't even walk into a store during those days, let alone walk into a bank or a school. So there has been a disadvantage there, and it needs to be compensated. I mean, if we're going to go compensate and take care of Ukraine, and we're going to go take care of Israel, don't you think you need to take care of your house first? So back to the black family. Shout out to Bill Cosby, because I feel like he put one of the greatest black images of a great black family, where you had a great father and you had a great mother, and he made sure all the images of black people on his show were very, very upscale and positive and gave off the positive vibe that we lack today. Where today we give our kids sexy red, and you see these women with the little kids, 3 and 4 years old, dancing to hands on your knees, hands, and you got these little girls. I cringe every time I watch that video because I'm thinking, who are the parents? Who sat around and thought it was okay to have little 3-year-olds singing stripper songs? And that's what. So what do they grow up to be? And when you're looking at today's society, it was a youngster on the internet earlier. I'm gonna find the clip. Maybe we'll add it in here later in the production. But this youngster, this dude was saying, women. He's probably about 22. Women today, you guys want to act like dudes. You want to act like niggas. That's what he's saying. You want to be the nigga. I can't even be a man because you so busy trying to be the man. And then one of the ladies said to him, well, y'all want to wear purses. So y'all want to wear purses and act like you wearing purses and dresses is okay. So now and I thought, damn, she kind of, that's a fair argument. And when you see what's happening today in media, you turn on the NFL. I'm sitting watching the NFL with my son, and right on the TV screen, you see 2 black men holding hands, talking about they're getting married and getting insurance and hugging and kissing. After the NFL program is on, we're all with our sons, and that's the imagery that we want to give to our sons right now.
By design.
It's got to be by design.
I purposely stopped watching football right before my son came. 2016 was my last year. One, because I didn't want my son to see gambling. We talked about that image, but gambling is right there in front on TV. Hey, spend $5 and win $200.
Right.
And that psychosis. Football and sports is already a fanatic thing, and now you're going to couple that with gambling.
Yeah.
So I didn't want my son to participate in that.
And I would agree. I don't think gambling should be there. I don't think we should be talking about showing those images to kids, because what's happening, and people want to say, oh, you're overthinking this, you're homophobic, but we're seeing what's happening to the youth. So I'll give you another example. A friend of mine, one of my best friends, his daughter lost prom queen to a dude. This is in the Valley in LA. So in two instances, 2 of my friends in the Valley have daughters who lost prom queen to a male. And I'm thinking the parents weren't outraged. And if they're going to have a gay queen, king, whatever you want to call it, have their own, just like sports, have a transgender sports league. Don't try to mix them with everyone else, because it's just not fair. And what we're seeing now is our lack of acting like this is serious. Now we're seeing the results of that. So fast forward 20 more years. Imagine how bad it's going to be if we don't act like we're watching the movie that we're watching. You don't see what I'm seeing? You don't see what's happening? Another one of my buddies was at a basketball game the other day. He said a lot of the parents couldn't go to the basketball game because it was during the week. So a lot of people are working. He works in a business where he's an entrepreneur and he can go to the kids' game. He said all the little girls up in the stands were saying stuff like this. The girls shooting, this is a girls' basketball game. Little girls in the crowd saying, wow, she looked like she got that wet. The girls shooting the free throw. These are young high school girls up there talking about the girl shooting the ball looked like she got that wet. And so my boy is sitting there thinking, damn, like, let's ear hustling to what the kids are talking about. These are children. And they've just lost their moral compass on a lot of things, and it's getting out of control. We're seeing the transgender strippers with kids. And I think that indirectly affects the black family, because now, and every family, not just the black family, but we can't afford it. Based on all of the things that we talked about in history and all of the things that have been against black people in this country, we can't also afford to destroy our family and take away what a male represents in the family, and what a female represents in the family, because they're both important.
I think when you look at that, it's an identity expression. And everybody has the right to express themselves any way they want to. Now, what they did back in the early 80s, they had this claim that if you were gay, you were born gay. Right. And it was one of those things, a God-given act, so to think. But they failed to take any type of reflection on how the media is constantly putting these images in front of us. Yeah. So they say you're born with it, but they dispute any type of thing, is that what we actually become what we see. be if
Absolutely.
we keep seeing it over and over and again.
And that's what they're doing in school.
That's
It's
what
called
they
grooming.
know. That's what they know. Grooming.
Yeah. So we all know, based upon being around the sun so many years, that this thing is extremely powerful.
Right.
And if you keep incorporating these type of characters, these type of narrative, these type of bylines, and then let's just look at the whole Tyler Perry era. You know, from 06 over there like to 2012. That was that strike back then. And you remember what happened in that strike. He was basically the only black film, the black expression. All you saw were Tyler Perry films.
With him dressed up like a chick?
Yeah. And then what did that do to a lot of black men who's watching this? It's like, wait a minute.
And being raised by women, fatherless household.
If I dress like this and I act like this, I can talk like this, and people won't not discriminately put me in like, oh, that's a black male, and keep me in a bottle where I can't speak. What, in my opinion, what this identity expression has allowed some people is to have a better voice that you couldn't happen in the identity that we have.
Right.
We're kind of have a pigeon toed on what we can say, or if we do say something, you know.
Yeah, they cancel you immediately.
Exactly.
It's cancel culture. If you speak with the morals of just less than 10 years ago, think about what Biden said. They can't get married. Marriage is between a man and a woman. This year, he's on the White House lawn partying with drag queens. So clearly, he didn't make that decision. They say the owner of BlackRock, the biggest company there is, cross-dresses or something like that in his spare time. Vanguard, same thing. When you put these images in front of people, indirectly, they are influenced by it. I don't care how you slice it. You know, and so that's where we got to be very careful. I think in today's world, we're kind of getting out of control with the amount of information that we're giving children, where their minds aren't ready to take.
But I believe early on, though, it is important though to have the conversation with the kids.
Well, you got to.
But we have to have the conversation. We can't send them off to preschool
to school.
Someone else
teach your kids,
right?
Because they have a different vision. Clearly,
I want to say this. When I was raised by women, all women. There was
Me too.
No father. My mother had had terrible luck with men. She had 6 kids.
Wow.
And we usually lived in the projects. Excuse me, in a 2-bedroom apartment, and my mother had the 1 bedroom. So it was all us kids with 2 sets of bunk beds. That's 4 kids. So somebody had to sleep on the floor on the couch in the living room. That's how we came up. But my aunties and my cousins, it was all women, man, and they were street women. They all had that mentality.
What do you mean street women?
They had the mentality. If a guy had a good job, he was a square or a punk or whatever. They were interested in
pimps, players, and hustlers,
or musicians. My mother was a groupie, and she went after musicians. My father was a musician. But I used to watch my auntie, who had a lot of
attention,
homosexual friends. Or like, in fact, her roommate was a guy who worked construction in the daytime. Big 5 o'clock shadow dude, man. I forget his name, Frank or something, and he was Francine at night, and he would do the shows at these clubs here in South Central. But I would watch him when I would stay with her in the summer times. I would watch him
transform,
go through the thing, man. Where he's got the deep voice and stuff, and he's in the mirror. And he's putting on the foundation. He shaves with that stinky stuff, the magic shave, right? And I'd be right there watching him, like, look at this. And he would put the eye makeup on, and we'll put the hair, and gradually turn into a woman. I thought, for me, that was like entertainment. I thought, wow, this is some funny shit. But I never judged. I had a gay brother. My younger brother was homosexual, and we talked about it openly. Kids can be cruel. We were cruel to him. When we were coming up, man. We were very cruel. But I grew as I got older. I watched it, and I've seen how the entertainment industry has taken advantage of the power that they have and the influence they have
through
on
imagery.
children, through imagery.
Through imagery, yeah.
And to what Tyler Perry was doing, when I saw that first Madea thing, it reminded me of my man.
I think what they do though is they try to make you feel bad for calling it out.
Of course.
And that's where you're a homophobe. No, phobia means I'm scared of something.
Right.
And I ain't scared. I'm not scared that I'm gay, and I don't mind. My Uncle Pancho, he's talking about, is one of my favorite uncles. But what I could say is, back when I was a kid, he would have he could cook his ass off. He would have these parties, and as I got older, maybe 11, 12, I knew that these were gay men around. But they never openly did things around the children that we just didn't know.
There was a separation.
It was a separation.
You were in the kids' room.
Right. And I think had they done that, my uncle would have probably smacked the crap out of somebody, for doing that in front of the kids. And I think that's what we're missing in today's world is kids. There was a thing online where a guy gave a kid, he said, here's $10,000 cash or 5 Oreo cookies fresh out the pack. And the kid went right for the Oreo cookies.
Of course.
You can't teach kids that they can chop their genitals off at that age. They just don't know who they are. They don't know enough yet. We have got to program our children with our values and what we believe is right. So if you're gay, cool. Teach your kids what you want to teach your kids. But don't try to teach my kids your values. And I think that's where in America we need to sit down. I also believe we need to we can Scrabble. The rainbow needs to come back. How are you going to take the rainbow and make that the promotion for kids for the whole thing? You know what I'm saying? Right. That's God's rainbow. God created the rainbow when it rains. And I feel like it's like if gangster rappers said, yeah, cuz blood, we gonna take the rainbow, homie, and every time you think of the rainbow, I want you to think crippin'. Cuz we feeling good about our unity, cuz we would have to be like, bro, not the rainbow, kids, our kids, we feel you from the hood and we respect it, but you can't use the rainbow, dog. That's directly influencing children. And they knew that when they did that. And I think as people, we just allow so much. Now, I would love to have a forum with gay people. I have no problem with gay people. I just want to make sure that we don't let this turn our families into that being, like, how do we incorporate that in the black family and make that work? Right.
Well, one, we got to realize, I think the part of it is population control.
Of course.
If you want to...
Population control, I agree. But let me ask you this. Can it work within we're talking about saving the black family. How do you incorporate, if some people are religious, you might be Christian, you study Christianity, Islam, all of these different things. How do you incorporate that into a black family and make it work healthily, make it work to better the family? How do you do that?
Well, at this point, we got to bring everything into the conversation. We got to bring homosexuality in the conversation. We got to bring misogyny in the conversation. Mm-hmm. We got to bring in, when it comes to relationships, how we treat our women. We got to bring it all because that thing right there is bringing everything, and it's slanting it in the direction in the behavior in which they want. Right. So our kids are getting bits and pieces of information, and their bodies are maturing a little bit faster than their minds are able to. So that whole thing earlier about incorporating these things into our children's programming, they don't even have the ability to make firm decisions.
They don't.
But they do have the right at, I think, what's that medical thing at 14 or 15, somewhere where they have medical rights now.
You're right.
Yeah.
Without their parents.
Yeah. And so they can do things. Abortion's one of them.
Yeah, abortion and genitalia.
Yeah. Without even the parents' consent.
That's what we're talking about. That's what we get.
There's spiritual warfare going on, and it's deeper than what we.
But you said preserving the woman in our family. Yeah. I believe that is a major problem. I think protecting the woman. I used to argue with my mom and my sister because in our music in the 90s, 92, 93, we was saying hoes and bitches.
Fuck that bitch.
And and we was fresh off of what Snoop and them was teaching us, and we thought that was law, like bitches, whatever, the hoes. And my mom thought this is the start of the destruction. And I used to be like, oh, we don't take this literally.
Because at the same time, where was your father? He was somewhere doing some drugs.
Yeah. Yeah, at that time.
And those
At that
80s
time.
and 90s were cold blooded on the black man.
Yeah. And you was with some other hoes.
And all that.
But you know, but
was what we've
he
been
was always a
conditioned
great
to
father.
believe.
Always a dude. Thank you for always being there for me and being a person I could call. But he had his
And
thing.
I'm just grateful that I was able to. I went through all that, and I'll tell you, it was my belief in God and faith in God that pulled me out of that. I didn't go to any rehab. I was an everyday cocaine user.
Yeah.
No rehab. I thought I needed these chicks out here to validate my manhood. You know, I was a victim of this whole slavery shit. And I was going to say that I believe we have a mental illness issue that needs to be addressed.
We do.
You know, in the black community, mental illness is rampant, man.
Absolutely. We celebrate mental illness these days.
Yeah.
We're celebrating mental illness, but we don't know it. So a lot of us, when I say we, I say as a whole, we don't realize the destruction that Sexy Red is doing to our kids. We don't understand what, even now, let me stop ragging on Sexy Red. Not just her. It's so many artists that
I've been hearing this mumble rap, man, where I'm like,
yeah, but it's drill rap. It's all about killing. It's genocide. It's promoting genocide. Everything is I kill you. I got the nigga. I hit you with the chopper. The chopper, kill. But and also a bitch ain't shit.
Yeah.
The person that a woman who is the closest thing in my opinion to God, the Most High, because she gives life. We call a bitch and a hoe.
oh, man.
We don't cherish her as the queen who gave, even if you don't get along with your children's mother anymore.
Yeah.
I cringe when I hear, it was this comedian the other day talking about, the bitch you had my daughter and my daughter's a bitch. And I thought, I forget his name. Some comedian, how could you call your daughter
And we can't
a
let our
bitch?
kids. We cannot let our kids. If the parents are, you know, at odds or they're getting divorced or they don't.
Whatever
get
the case
along,
may be.
you cannot have that in front of these kids. You can't let the kids hear you. You know.
Go back and forth,
Yeah, bitch, you motherfucker.
devalue each other.
Devalue each other. How do we remix that? I mean, we were talking about chess the other day.
Yeah.
Let's give that analogy. How we had that conversation about chess.
Yeah.
Let's go over that again about the
Right.
chessboard.
Because my wife was saying, she loves saying, see, they playing chess
and we playing checkers. Yeah.
And so I went, wow, that's deep. And so I just broke down that chessboard, man. And what I found to be really interesting is the most powerful piece is the queen, or at least the one who's most capable.
Yeah.
She can go this way, that way. She'll kill that. She can do all that. The least powerful
Is the king.
Yeah.
Why is that? What the fuck does that mean? But and at the same time, you can kill the queen.
Wait. The pawns I thought were.
Oh baby, but
The king is stronger than the pawns, right? It's the pawns.
No, but the king
can go
has the
backwards.
same-
The king can kill backwards.
Hold on, let's go over the board though. The queen is the strongest. The king is
The most
second.
capable.
The king is second, right?
The king is when you capture the king, you win.
That's what I was gonna say.
Right. You got to
So-
capture the game over. If
you
you
can
capture
get the queen, and the game goes on.
Yeah.
How about that?
How about that?
But you got that front line, like you were gonna say, and you have bishops. You have
Yeah.
the rook. You got the knights.
I need to learn how to play chess better.
But-
I understand it for
all of
the
these play a
basics,
role.
but
what I assumed on this chessboard is that the pawns, some of those have to be women. Right?
soldiers, right?
Because if you kill the queen, it should be game over. Because how you gonna reproduce?
Right.
Right,
That's funny.
You can't reproduce no more, yeah. That's a good point.
So one of them gonna have to come get with this one of these pawns and make and
Right.
procreate. So everybody's important, but
At the end of the day, the king.
At the end of the day, you got to preserve that king. He's got to sit on that throne, and he's got to and obviously the king is the one that's up there overseeing everything. I think that's his job, is to oversee everything.
Yeah.
And you know
and be the vision of the force. He's the stronger one physically. In any
so
empire,
important.
in any empire,
Yeah.
when they came into any empire, who did they take out first? When they take over an empire, they take out
Capture
the
the
war.
king. You got it.
Capture the king, but you take out all the warriors.
Sure.
You take out all the men, and you leave they would leave like politicians and like the fairy boys, the gay dudes, the people that weren't threatening,
But the prize is that queen.
is the queen. So with that being said, if we don't cherish the queen and we don't treat her like that, then it destroys the whole army.
Yes, it's
Just like the king.
you're gonna go the rest of your life trying to, if they get your queen, you're gonna go the rest of that game
Handicap.
handicapped. Like,
Right.
man,
Just like life.
Wait for your pawn.
constantly running. You're gonna be on the run.
Yeah.
Bro.
So look,
That's where we are.
and that's where
They
we are.
captured our queen.
That's
Yeah.
where we
But
are.
we allowed them to capture our queen.
Watch
to
TV.
raise a family without the queen is hard.
Check this out. I don't watch TV. I haven't for a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah.
But we have a TV, and we will occasionally, probably once every 2 weeks, I'll turn on CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, and just to see what they're talking about.
Right.
And what I see, man, is the black king is gone.
Yeah.
He's nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
Nowhere to be found.
The one that
You-
stands on principles,
when I'm-
the one that stands on
the
moral.
black man,
Yeah.
bro. I don't see him. What I see when I and this is way too often, man. Is this is normal now on what do you call it, TV?
Mass media or whatever.
You see mainstream TV.
Mainstream.
You'll see when the commercials come on. It's if it's not two guys or whatever, you'll see a black man with a white woman and a zebra kid, which that's me. My father's white and my mother's black, but so not necessarily too much wrong with that. But if it's exclusive, then you're killing the black. There's no
Imagery wise, it's terrible.
Because
because subconsciously, kids are thinking that that's normal. They don't think it's beautiful. They don't think it's beautiful to have a black woman anymore because they don't see it.
They don't see it. You don't see a black man with a black woman and the black kids.
Dr.
You
Umar
don't
voice,
see that.
Dr. Umar be on everybody's
I don't
head
see
about
it.
that, man, and I can't knock him for that. He's right about that.
Right.
I think
Well, but
Rizza Islam.
I want to
as
go
well.
back to the chessboard. So
yeah.
the thing about chess is you anticipate moves ahead of time.
Right.
You know, okay, I'm going to bait such and such into this move because I got a backup plan.
Right.
And so what we're missing as far as men is, and the king, is be able to see moves ahead, realize somebody's playing a game on us.
Yeah.
Okay, there's weaknesses to the game that they're playing. And so now we got to take advantage of those weaknesses and use it to our advantage. And the only person that can make that happen in this time is God, because God sees infinite moves ahead, and it's up to us
God
to
is
allow
the past,
God
present,
to
and future.
communicate to us on the ground. We're the troops on the ground here, and we need to move God's board moving forward.
But they've taken that away from us.
In
They
a
take
way,
it out of the
that's-
schools. They take it out of
That
everywhere.
analogy can be used in slavery. When Massa, I think we get it confused. We think Massa was out there with the whip and he was big. No, that was the cracker man. The term cracker is from the overseer dude who was
Smacking the whip.
the term came from cracking the whip. The cracker man's coming.
Yeah.
But Massa was in the house or somewhere or traveling in Europe or somewhere,
Yeah.
getting reports from this hillbilly, toothless cracker that was his job was to make sure that these niggas don't run off.
Right.
And keep them working. Keep them shaking it. They'll keep them working and crack that whip and beat their ass and let us know what happens. And today, Massa, when I mention Black Rock or Vanguard or State Street to any common, people don't know. What is that? Well, and then when you break it down, well, who's the man? Man, look, it's so high up. It's so high up beyond Rothschilds and all them who we know of. We know those names.
Yeah.
But there are Massa, who's pulling the strings today, is a satanic, evil, sexually fucked up group.
Hello.
Small group of people.
Yeah, we've based everything around sexuality in today's world, and that's the main problem.
But it's that.
It's distorted.
That nasty,
It's distorted. It's distorted. So
wicked
it's you
sex
can't even
bullshit
reproduce
with
that.
kids.
It doesn't have anything to do with reproduction.
Yeah.
Has zero to do with reproduction. And when you talk about
that whole sexual thing is another show.
we got to spin off and do a whole nother show. How many minutes are we in? How far in are we on the show right now? 43. Okay, so we only got 17 minutes to really. So saving the black family. We want to save the black family by giving kids more positive imagery of black men. We do want to highlight more of the positive black families, and it's sad that I can only think of Bill Cosby and the Cosby Show when you think about. I want to say Will and Jada, and
but
then I
don't pay attention to them.
Then I want to think Will and Jada, and then I'm like, then name a beautiful. The Obamas have a beautiful thing that looks beautiful when you see the black man, the black woman, and black children, and they're not really into anything, too crazy.
I think the first thing we got to do, we got to give credit to the Queen.
For sure.
So one thing that I tell my woman, and I go like, look, you have all, just like the Queen, she has much more abilities than I do at living in the masculinity. Yeah. She can have intuition, know what's going to happen before it happens. You know, she has that connection to God. She has that direct communication. Yeah. But guess what? Life. She can't do that if she's in the mode of survival all the time.
Right.
You know, if you're living, you can be survival or you can create. You can't do both. So our job as men is to get them out of survival mentality, get them out of survival mode, allow that seed to go into the dirt and allow that seed to bloom. And that's what I say. That's my job for you. You know, I don't want you I'm giving you all this so-called freedom so you don't have to think of survival, so you can go out and spend on Louis Vuittons and going out and wasting things.
Bring something back valuable to our
I want you to blossom.
Yeah. So as things change with society and people say, well, it's a different day and it's a different time. Like Dave Matthews said, he's a true lyricist. The more things change, the more they stay the same.
Right.
Because no matter what we say, we got a lot of, I'm a boss woman. At the end of the day, a lot of those with that mentality are single. Because you bring that energy into your relationship, so we got to balance it out.
I haven't heard boss woman. I've heard
boss bitch. You know, I'm trying to. I guess.
Oh, come on, Khalees.
You know, boss bitch and all that. Okay.
That was huge,
it's
man.
It's very toxic, man. The things that we're bringing and we're making normal these days, and I think we need to find more beautiful black families that are doing it the right way. And not say that you have to do it like that, but just giving praise to positive imagery to our children, because we're celebrating genocide in music. We're celebrating the demise of our women. We're celebrating these things as a black culture. And we have such a beautiful thing with hip hop that we built and turned into a genre that's lasted 50 years. And we could capitalize off of that and give back to our community. We can also capitalize off of all the education, doctors, lawyers, people in stocks and crypto, people that are into construction, whatever the case may be. But we've got to give back to our communities and give our children more positive imagery to see black families working. Because how often do we see healthy black families on any form of mainstream media? We can't even think of one, except the Cosby Show. And then they turned him into a rapist because a girl said 35 years ago that he fondled her boobs. Not they turned Cosby. My bra was crooked when I woke up 35 years ago. Not my vagina was hurt. And we all called him a rapist for a time. And that's a whole nother story. Yeah. But when somebody's done so much good for our community and has put so many kids through college and has given us a positive imagery of what a black family should look like and operate like, you got to get that man his flowers. And I believe that there's a reason why we don't have more shows like that. It's a way to keep us at the bottom of the totem pole. People say, oh, you're a what the movie are y'all watching? Is to say that everything black people is not a conspiracy theory. You've got to think deeper. The CIA created the term conspiracy theorist so you would stop looking into assassinations and shit and going deeper. We clearly know over history all of the shady things that this government has been a part of.
I don't have a problem with that term, conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, but it's not even it's not a theory no more. It's more like a conspiracy fact.
Yeah,
because theories are being proven.
Like, and then when you research it,
it's always true.
It becomes a fact.
So
that's what I'm saying. So, but people can look at conspiracy theory like you're telling a lie. Yeah. They don't even know the true definition of it. They've never even looked up the definition.
So we talked about reparation. But I think
can we?
That's a whole nother show.
But we can't rely on reparations. Wait for reparations to get here before we do that.
Revolution is something that we don't understand that word.
It's important.
I was raised in the 60s and 70s. Gil Scott-Heron spoke on it.
Yeah.
You know, and that resonated with me when I was a kid, man. Revolution. Niggas are scared of revolution. We don't understand because we don't understand it. We don't understand what it means. We don't understand what revolt means.
It means you have to get uncomfortable though. You can't. You know, a lot of people are stuck in society to where they got to go to work every day. They can't be a revolution.
What's uncomfortable would be to what I believe is the answer to get the attention of those powers that be is stop spending money with them.
For sure.
One day.
Yeah, one day.
Woo!
Things change.
One day.
That's a whole nother show though. We're gonna get into that. We're talking about reparation and how to get
preparing the family.
But you mentioned the black woman. I think that's a start. Is us as black men saying we love you, we appreciate you, you're great, you're amazing, you're all that. You define, you know, what pretty lips are. You see other cultures going to get their lips done like that. You see them trying to go get ass shots. They're trying to be you, the queen, but we got to treat ourselves, and you've got to treat yourself like a queen in order to be that. We can't teach our children to be strippers and then say I'm a queen at the same time. So we got to work on that. As black men, to be a king, we got to show up every day. If you had a kid, whether you did it on purpose or not, you got to show up, bro. Yeah. You made it. You got to show up. Yeah, it hurt. She kept the baby, but you did the bust.
And she might be hard to deal with.
Yeah,
but I got to. Yeah.
I've been with
you
a
pulled the trigger.
Strong black woman for 52 years. I was 17 years old when we met up, and we'd been.
That's amazing.
Everything you can imagine in life, we've been through it.
Yeah.
All of it, and we survived it. Right.
You can attest to that.
And you know, and what I realized in recent years is that just how I've learned how to handle that. This woman being such a strong woman. You know, there have been times when it was intimidating for me. You know, where I felt I had to, you know, I got to stand up and be this bull, be this alpha male.
Yeah, she's mom. We got a very strong woman in the house. Yeah, we got a real strong.
You see, he got all the tense there.
Yeah. But you know what? Yeah, she's the queen.
Let me tell you what that reminds me of. Y'all seen 300, the movie 300?
Yes.
Okay, remember how the queen was the king? So the king, she kind of would talk her little shit when the other people came in, the Persians or whoever came in to take shit over. She kept talking. He was like, "Honey, chill, yo, chill. I got this," you know. And so she was like, "Okay, my bad." And he would get out there and handle and threw the Persian dude in the hole or whatever. But then when he went back home at nighttime, he's laying in the bed. And she comes behind him. "What troubles my king?" And then she would give him all of the things that they need to do and comfort him. So basically, she was running the shit. He's the face of the shit. He's the strength. He's the one that teaches the son to be strong and teaches the empire that we got this. But she's right there to make sure that he's that powerful by sticking by him, staying behind him, but giving him the play at the same time. And when that chemistry is working, that's when you create the strong family. When that shit is broken down, that's when it can be infiltrated.
Oh, she told me, you want to know what strength is? Strength is what I've displayed dealing with your ass, with your shit, with all the shit that you brought. You know, it takes a strong woman.
Well, but I don't mean to interrupt, but I think that's where we can start. We need to start telling the stories of powerful black women. Because when you said earlier, I was raised by women, you know, okay, I had great male influencers in my day, but really it was my mother and her friends that raised me. I would basically be somebody's step kid for 2 years, and they would bring me underneath their household all the weekends. I would live underneath them, and then they would move on, get married, do something, and then somebody else would take over. And it would be like I had like 6 different moms. But the thing that I want to bring up is that women back in those days, they worked together. They stuck together. It wasn't like this competition, this hatefulness, the way we see the reality TV and what it's done to separate women and to create this false competition. So we need to bring back those stories of how our women endured and how powerful they were and how connected they were, so that we can remind women this is your plateau. This is number one. And two, we got as men, we got to start saluting our black women instead of and instead of bringing them down and the fine one, we got to stop demonizing black men. We got to stop making black men the evils of society, because not only does society do it, but our black women subconsciously do it too.
And we do it to each other.
Yes.
We do it, and it's time to stop that. So black women, black men, and black women, we got to stop demonizing each other and coming out and fight for each other.
And society makes black men seem like they're this violent,
degenerate.
When
this
is probably another topic too, but American white man, the European white man has been the terrorist
of the whole planet since day one. I mean, if you name generation after generation, conquering, killing, and all, that's a whole nother subject. Black on black crime is new. Gang banging, gangster was learned from the 1900s. The gangsters of New York weren't black; they were Irish and white. And so when you think about all and the gangsters of the Italian mob that we tried to say we gangsters, we was trying to be the Italian mob, thinking we was gonna get some money, and we started claiming blocks that we don't own, and it didn't become about money anymore. And the police infiltrated it and made it where it was just a color thing and not about protecting you, my blood brother. Or Crips was community representatives empowering people's society when it was about something positive.
Right.
But that's something we're gonna get into that. Saving the black family. All of us, we're all fathers here. We're blessed enough to be fathers, and we're running short on time. So we want to conclude this with all positive vibes, like we always say. This is what the movie are y'all watching, but at the end of the day, we want to hit y'all with the good news. And the good news is there are some great black men out here that still love black families and love everybody for that matter. But you can't fix outside until you fix within. So you love yourself within, you love your people, and then you can move around once you're in a comfortable space to start helping outside of your own community and your own self. So I want to thank you, Pops, for joining me on here. It's an honor. I love you. And Mike, again, you're always a great guest. But if there's any last words you guys want to say or any positive vibes we can put out into the universe, let's put them out right now.
Well, I think we need to start with some after-school programs where we get our kids, if it's just one time a month, where we say, hey, we're meeting here and we're going to discuss these kids with our kids. That's number one. And number two, we got to find examples, even though me, you, we're dealing with our mothers of our kids, as you said before, I don't allow our disagreements to come in between my kid, and so I kind of keep that out. I'm always taking a bullet for the team, meaning like, hey, I wish I can get this, I should get this. So I just leave it alone because guess what? At the end of the day, it's for my son.
Absolutely.
Oh,
wait, hold on. Great point. That's the point I think I want to tell everybody out there. If you have children, fight for them first. They didn't ask to come here. As parents, we brought them here. It's our responsibility to raise them right, to put our all into them being the best people that they can be, and putting as much into them as possible. And even when it comes to communication with your mate, if you guys created some beautiful spirits, kids, healthy kids, even kids that are not as fortunate to be healthy, you guys did it together, and you guys got to fight to make sure those kids have everything that they need from you guys. And a lot of the times I see today, we're quick to just throw our relationships away and let the kids suffer the consequences. And that's very irresponsible of the parents. And it's very childish of the parents. And it takes a lot to be accountable and say, you know what? I'm going to be the bigger person, make it work with my spouse or my partner or my ex-partner to do what's right for the children. And the day that we can do that, the day I think we'll move a step further, repairing the black family. Again, thank you all for joining WTF. This is only episode number 2. And we plan on doing a bunch more. I want to invite all of you out there who have been hitting me up after seeing the first episode and saying that you guys want to get on the show. Well, come sit down. Let's think of a topic that people need to hear and talk about, even if it's especially if it's uncomfortable, because I don't want to talk about anything that's not uncomfortable. I feel like there's so many things out there in society today that has our psyche kind of on a negative vibration, and we want to bring back the positive vibration. We want to tell you about the people that made some money last week or connected with another business like mine and made their business prosper, or raised their kids to go to college, or did something positive to raise the vibration, raise our frequency, and make sure everybody's stepping in the right direction, which is forward and up and towards God's truth. So thank you for joining us. WTF, Bambino Brown, Big Bud, Mikael. We out.
Peace, peace. Leave your comments on what you can do to make it a better place for our black family and our children too.